Japanese seating is going to be surprisingly varied, although keep in mind they're basically a floor culture. So we're going to start with the most basic form, the zabuton, which is a large flat cushion used for sitting or kneeling on the floor. Of course, the floor, even though it's padded with those mats, is still going to be a somewhat hard surface. So you would use this as some place to kneel or potentially sit. And in a floor culture, of course, they're going to be used in a number of different ways, but it's somewhat uncomfortable at times. So we'll see them used, for example, in this painting, the woman simply kneeling on it. Sometimes it would be rested on top of the feet. Sometimes you would be sitting on it. These are the same cushions, or very similar cushions, to what we saw in medieval Europe that are coming in through the Byzantine Empire. Well, of course, they're coming to the Byzantine Empire from China, which is taking some of the Japanese ideas, some of the Chinese ideas, and exporting them to the Byzantine Empire. So very, very similar ideas happening at roughly the same time. These cushions can be incredibly ornate. They could be silk. They could be embroidered, pretty much anything you could imagine. Then we see the zaisu, which is basically a legless chair. Of course, sitting on the floor is fantastic to a point. Sometimes you just want to rest against something, and they don't like the idea of resting against a wall. So you're going to see the development of the legless chair. Now, here we see two modern forms because these take on numerous forms. We see very simple bamboo forms where it's basically nothing more than a backrest and then a seat that you sit on made out of bamboo that's tied together. Sometimes we see something wooden like we see on the right. Of course, on the left, that's steam bent plywood, so that's a little different issue, but you get the idea. This allows one to sit more comfortably on the floor. And we see these today. Today we would call them gamer chairs, etc., or at least we did in the early 2000s when I was in college. And then we see a basic armrest, and that's what this is. This is not a bench. This is not a headrest. This is an armrest, and this is a koyosoku, which I apologize, I'm probably mispronouncing much of this, but it's basically an armrest. So you could have that backrest and then you could have the armrest as well. You'll notice that they're separate pieces, and this is again a function of that multi-function room idea that the Japanese have throughout their home. Maybe people don't need the backrest. Maybe they just need the armrest. Maybe they don't need any of it. And so all of these pieces are designed so that they're very small and simple. Oftentimes they can be put away in a built-in closet, which we'll get to in a little bit.